Is my presentation visible to everybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So today we will start with this monetary economics class with the standard money supply process. Uh, the objective is basically to explain that why money appeared in the real world, especially from the barter economy to monetary economics. Then the role of money and who controls money supply and how it is controlled by the central bank by different kind of policy measures. So this is basically the objective of this topic, the very first topic. So the way this monetary economics course will grow, this money supply, then money demand, who controls money supply, how they controls money supply, then followed by money demand and why people demand money, and then the monetary money market equilibrium comes into picture, as you have already learned from your LM curve, and we'll look into that more in detail. uh, Anybody, actually what I have been seeing that the students nowadays is much more interested to analyze this cryptocurrency. This cryptocurrency is basically coming in as a topic of research also in the mainstream economics. So anybody who's actually want to contribute and want to research the cryptocurrency thing, this is how a person should proceed. Just like cryptocurrency supply, that first who's going to, who controls this supply and why the supply, how this supply is controlled, then who demands cryptocurrency and why they do, why do they demand, and then the equilibrium of the cryptocurrency will comes into picture. So just if you want to really want to do a research on cryptocurrency, you have to follow this pathway, the way this monetary economics evolved over the time in past 20-30 years. The first people analyze money supply, then people analyze money demand, and then they analyze their interaction. If you really want to contribute in the cryptocurrency field, is another money and another kind of money, then you really have to contribute you have to follow this particular pathway also, that first you have to analyze the supply of cryptocurrency, who supplies, what kind of mathematical models do they have to control this cryptocurrency supply, and then who demand cryptocurrency and why do they demand. Once both of them actually properly formalized, then their equilibrium can be actually analyzed. So you just cannot do anything arbitrarily with the cryptocurrency. You have to follow a particular pattern, and this particular course will give you an idea what kind of pattern should you follow. We will follow the standard money supply and money demand over here, but obviously the mirror image of this presentation, the mirror image of this course can be another course on cryptocurrency. First money supply of cryptocurrency, then demand for cryptocurrency, and then their equilibrium. Okay, so who's this? Somebody is waiting in the lobby. I do not know why he's waiting in the lobby. Admit. Okay, fine. Anyway, so at least the economic student, they have a little bit of exposure already to this money and money supply. And first the basic definition of money supply or money, then we will go how the money supply is actually calculated in the real world, and then we will go how that money supply is controlled by the central bank. So first the definition of money, then the function of money, third how the money is calculated in the real world, and fourth how this money supply is controlled by the central bank. Okay, so money or money supply is anything that is generally accepted in payment for goods or services or in the repayment of debt. Anything. This is basically the important term over here. Anything that serves these two purposes, payment for goods and services and repayment of debt. Money or money supply is anything that is generally accepted in the payment for goods and services or in the repayment of debt. Money is a stock concept, it is not a flow concept, and in economics the definition of money is completely different from the definition of wealth and income. Wealth is a total collection of pieces of property that serves to store value. Okay, so your residential house is basically your wealth, but the residential house is not basically a money. Okay, and income is basically the flow of earning per unit of time. Let's say the income that you earn, your salary per month is basically your income, but it is not money. Money has a completely different definition, unique definition in field of economics, and we will go to that. So this is basically the definition of money over here, crudely, that anything that is generally accepted in the payment for goods and services or in the repayment of debt. This is basically how the money is defined, and when we will actually calculate how the money supply, you're going to see how the money supply is different from this wealth and income. Wealth is a total collection of pieces of property that serve to store value. So your residential house, your deposits, your bond purchase, your let's say mutual fund purchase, uh, your purchase of a Picasso painting is basically wealth. Is your wealth. And income is basically maybe your salary per month is income, the labor income per month is income. But we will see how the definition of money, the calculation of money is different from this wealth and income. So wealth, income, and money, they are actually uniquely defined and completely differently defined. We will concentrate on that. So this is what money does. And interesting part is that why actually money comes into picture. From our ancient time, we have all learned history in our school days, and we have seen in our history book that initially it was a barter economy. So if you want to get some rice, and then you have to give something like, say, uh, 2 cows to a particular person to get a kg of rice or something. So it's basically an exchange. Money never comes into picture initially. So it was a completely barter economy and without money. This is how the market economy actually started in initially, and we have seen that in our history book. Over the time, some problem arises in this barter economy, and people was looking for a particular medium of exchange which is not barter, which is universally accepted. People will accept that as a medium of exchange. And what kind of problem arises in the barter economy, that we will actually discuss over here. And we will see that how introduction of payment system, of introduction of money, actually solves that. That is basically the function of money, that why money comes into picture. In history, there is no money. It is completely barter economy. You have to give one good to another person to get another good what you demand, and money was not there. It was going on for a long period of time, and then people realize there is a problem. As the market economy grows and the market economy becomes more and more complicated, more and more goods comes into picture in the market. People realize that no, this barter is not working. We need something that we will give to another person to get that good, and that particular thing which I'm giving in exchange is basically uh, universally accepted. So what the barter economy major problem was, it is the double coincidence of demand. Just like as I said, that suppose you have cows, and a person has a paddy, and a person who cow, he wants to get the paddy. What happened? Okay, he says, I'm going to give you 2 cows, you give me 1 kg of paddy. Person who is selling you paddy, you also have to have a demand for cows. Okay, so this is basically the double coincidence of demand. So what you want to give to another person, the person might not need it at all. If the person do not need that, you will not get your rice. So this is the double coincidence of demand. That's the major problem that people face in the barter economy. Just like another example, being a lecturer of economics, I need to find a person who can give me paddy in exchange of learning economics. Okay, what I have is basically my knowledge of economics. This is exactly what I can sell. What I give it to you, you give me paddy. But it is very difficult to find a person uh, in the barter economy, maybe who's interested to learn economics and give me paddy. The person may be interested to learning something, let's say physics. The person may be interested to learning, let's say, music. So a person who knows music and the person who has a paddy, the exchange can be possible. But the person who do not want to learn economics, I cannot give anything to him in exchange to get my paddy. So this is the problem. So you see, when the economy is extremely large and vast, it is very difficult to find a person such as who needs this knowledge of economics to give me paddy. That's the major problem people face in the barter economy. That it's a transaction cost. What money does, economy with money, it reduces transaction cost and promotes specialization. Suppose I have money or anything which is actually working as a money, I'll give that universally accepted, he will give me paddy. What it will do, it basically promotes specialization. I can concentrate on my economics and I can actually uh, excel on that particular talent of mine. And the person who is actually growing paddy, he can also concentrate over there and he can actually specialize and excel in their cultivation. Okay, so this is exactly what money does. It reduces transaction cost. Transaction cost means cost of finding a person who wants to learn economics and give me paddy. It reduces transaction cost and promotes specialization by allowing me to specialize in economics and others in the job where they have their talent and interest. So barter economy has this problem of double coincidence of demand, and this is how money solves it. So this is exactly when people failed in the barter economy, when the economy started growing, is becoming large, new goods are coming into the market, then this double coincidence of demand comes into picture, and this problem becomes really crucial for barter economy to solve for. And people realize that this barter is not working anymore. We need something that I can actually simply give in exchange of what I want to get. And that particular money, the type of money, is basically what I'm looking for. And this is how the money solves the problem. You really do not need to find out a person that to whom you want to sell your knowledge of economics. You'll simply give money to a paddy, a cultivator. The cultivator will give you the paddy. With that amount of money, the cultivator actually can do anything. You can purchase a physics book and learn physics, or you can purchase, let's say, uh, a burger or something. Anything you can do. That is how it solves the problem. So this is the major problem in market economy: double coincidence of demand, and this is how money solves it. Second, a unit of account. It is used to measure the value in the economy and reduces the transaction cost. Okay, it is used to measure the value in the economy. Okay, one example you have already learned in your basic macro, when we have calculated this nominal GDP, or real GDP, is basically the value of all final goods and services produced within a domestic boundary of a country in a particular given period of time. So what we are doing over here, we are adding the monetary value of different goods and services. So there are apple, there are oranges, there are tables, chairs, and everything. How do I calculate what is the total income or total output of our economy? What we do, we actually calculate the monetary value of all those goods and services produced. So that is one particular rule. It's used to measure the value in the economy, and it reduces transaction cost. How it does? Suppose you have n goods in a supermarket. Suppose you have n goods in the barter economy. How many prices you have to quote? NC2 prices you have to quote. But in the economy with money, only n prices you have to quote, right? Suppose, let's say Sagar Kumar Karn. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Sagar, you tell me, suppose you have 10 goods in a supermarket. In the barter economy, I said if you want to give a price list to that supermarket who is following a barter, my lecture says that you have to quote 10C2 number of prices.
Yes.
If you have a 10 good, what is the total amount of 10C2? Calculate करके बोलो.
45.
45. Okay. And according to my lecture note, if there's a monetary economy, if money comes into picture, how many price you have to quote? N prices. How many prices? 10, right?
10. Yes, sir.
Now suppose Sagar, you assume you have 1,000 good in a supermarket, and the supermarket is butter. How many price you have to quote? एक बार कैलकुलेट करके बोलो.
Okay, sir. Give me a minute.
कोई भी बोल सकता है.
499500.
499500. This is the total number of price you have to quote in the supermarket if you have 1,000 goods. और monetary, अगर money market हो, कितना तुम्हें, if you introduce money into the market, then how many price you have to quote? Only 1,000.
1000.
It really makes your life better, right? Life simple if you introduce money.
Sir,
हाँ बोलो बोलो.
sir, what do you mean by quoting the prices?
तुम्हें तो प्राइस देना पड़ेगा ना, कि अगर तुम राइस के बदले में मिल्क खरीदना चाहो, व्हाट इज द रेट ऑफ एक्सचेंज? मिल्क के बदले में सपोज तुम एप्पल खरीदना चाहो, व्हाट इज द रेट ऑफ एक्सचेंज? दिस इज द कोट्स.
Okay, sir.
So if it is a barter economy and if you have an n number of goods, you have to quote NC2 number of prices, or maybe you have to remember, let's say, NC2 number of prices. When you go into market, you have to remember all these exchange rates among different goods. Between two different goods, NC2 number of prices you have to remember. But if you introduce money, only N number of prices you have to remember. And we have already seen with a simple numerical example, when N is actually rising, NC2 rising, NC2, this N combination 2 is rising at a very faster rate. So better to have a money, right? Instead of a barter economy. It's basically the transaction cost over here is basically a cost of remembering. In this double coincidence of demand, the transaction cost over here is basically finding a person who wants to learn economics and give me paddy. Introduce money, the transaction cost gets eliminated. Simply over here, the transaction cost is basically how many price, how many quotation, how many exchange rate you have to remember if you are barter economy with N goods, NC2. But with money, only N. And when N is growing large, the transaction cost in the barter economy is actually rising at a very increasing rate. And money makes my life simple. So unit of account, this is the role. So two roles are already done. Initially, historically, we have a barter economy. Then the market started growing, and people realized that barter is not working because the double coincidence of demand problem is basically started looming large, and people was looking for a particular thing, which is money, which is universally accepted as an exchange. What money does, it basically eliminates this problem of double coincidence of demand, that is finding a person who wants to learn economics in exchange of paddy. And it also allows specialization, just like according to your talent and interest. Second, unit of account, this is the thing. It used to measure the value in the economy and reduces transaction cost, and this is the example that I have given over here. Third is over here. It used to say purchasing power over time. Money is the most liquid of all assets, and you will see the way we will see how the money is calculated in the real economy. We will actually keep this particular thing in mind. It should be as liquid as possible. So money is the most liquid of all assets, but it loses value during inflation. Other assets serves these functions better: bond, stock, equity, etc. So this is another particular function of money, store of value. So first function is basically the minimum exchange. Money is serving quite good. Second function is unit of account. Money is serving quite good. Third, the store value. So you actually in initial days when the banking system was not there, people actually keeps money and all their treasure hidden, maybe digging a hole and putting everything over there, right? So that you have this treasure hunt kind of stuff, and you have these stories will go on, basically these treasure stories. This is exactly where it started. No banking system was there, you hide everything by digging a hole. What is the, so this is how you have stored the value, so that this particular treasure you can actually use later to purchase goods and services. But what happened if you store everything in terms of money? What happened? Money loses value during the inflation, and other assets basically serves this purpose better. Let me actually give you an example over here. So let me open my Word document and let me see what I'm saying. Fine. So let me go over here, remove it over here, then Microsoft Word over here. It's visible, right? My Word document.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Suppose my economy, suppose I'm taking this example of paddy. Suppose 1 kg of paddy cost, let's say, P unit of money. 1 kg of paddy cost P unit of money. With with 1 unit of money, how much paddy I can purchase? Can anybody tell me? P unit of money is required to purchase 1 kg of paddy. Then with 1 unit of money, how many kgs of paddy I can purchase?
1 by P.
1 by P. So this is how it goes. It's simple unitary method, right? So P units of money gives 1 kg of paddy. Simply 1 unit of money gives 1 by P kg of paddy. Now suppose P rises, right? The inflation takes place. Value of money rising or falling? If P rises, suppose initially it was 10 rupees. 1 kg of rice cost 10 rupees initially. Now suppose 1 kg of rice becomes, let's say, 50 rupees. The value of money rising or falling? Value of money means 1 unit of how much paddy you can purchase with 1 unit of money. This is how the value of money is defined. So when P rises, value of money
False.
falls. And this is exactly what happens. What I said, money loses value over time. If price rises, inflation rises in the economy, money loses its value. Okay. Now, another important thing you said there, when you keep money, let's say digging a hole and putting your money in that particular hole and keep it for a longer period of time, what is the amount of return? Let's say nominal return you are getting. Let's say nominal return by holding money. Is this? कुछ मिलता है मुझे? अगर मैं 100 रुपीज 50 years के लिए अलमीरा में रख दूं, वो 100 rupees क्या 150 हो जाएगा?
Nope.
Then
No,
what
sir.
is the nominal return of money? वो
Zero.
100 zero. Very good. That 100 rupees ही रहेगा. So nominal return of money is zero. On the other hand, money loses value as the inflation rises, right? This is exactly what I said. As inflation is denoted by, let's say, pi. This is a standard notation. When the price level rises and inflation takes place, so let me give it a name pi. Basic Greek letter, there is a pi, must be here, pi. Inflation takes place. My question is, what is the real return of money? Can anybody tell me?
Sir, minus pi.
Very good. It is 0 minus pi. This is the money example. Suppose you purchase a bond that gives you a nominal return I, and the inflation takes place at the rate pi. What is the real return of that bond? The bond gives you a nominal return I after 1 year, let's say, and at 1 year the inflation takes place at the rate pi. What is the real return of the bond?
Sir, I minus pi.
I minus pi. So this real return of the bond can be positive when I is greater than pi, but the real return of money cannot be positive. It is always negative pi. So which one is better in terms of store value, bond or money?
Sir, bond.
This is exactly what I have written in my lecture note over here. So money has a role of storing value, store of value. But compared to money, bond, stock, equity, etc., that gives you some nominal return is obviously better compared to money, as long as is this last function of money is concerned, store of value. In terms of medium of exchange, money is absolutely fine, is the best. As unit of account, money is the best because it is the most liquid. But store value, since money does not give any nominal return, but the value of money falls as inflation rises, the real return of money always falls as inflation rises. But on the other hand, bond, stocks, equity, that gives me some kind of nominal return, small I. So if my nominal return is higher than inflation, I can still get some better real return if I hold bond and stock, positive real return. But with money, I can never have positive real return. So in terms of store value, bond, stocks, equity, this kind of assets actually is better, subs better compared to money. But still, there's some people still hold money. They actually, and we will see that why people hold money, and this is how this precautionary motive and transaction motive will comes into picture for demand for money. But the question is, even if money holding is not good, better to hold bond, stocks, equity, and everything. Still, people hold money. Why people hold money, and then this we will see when we'll discuss this money demand, that's precautionary demand, transaction demand will come into picture, and we will do that in later. But when the bottom line is, when the store of value is concerned, that means you are storing something today and going to use that to purchase goods and service tomorrow. Better to store in bonds, stocks, and equity instead of money. When other things remain unchanged, there is no uncertainty in the economy, and you have a better market. Your market is better than Tikka, let's say, where the cards is accepted and everything. Okay, so in that case, everything is maintained. Then obviously do this. Hold some bonds, stocks, equity. It gives you some nominal return. And if your inflation rate is lower than this nominal return, you can get some positive real return from bond stock by holding bond stocks or equity. But by holding money, your real return is always negative. So compared to bond stock and equity, money is a worse asset to hold for when store of value is concerned. Any question? Rahul Singh? Rahul, are you here? Rahul unmute himself, but I can hear some noise only. Rahul Singh, Rahul Singh Rawat. Hopefully he can hear me. Maybe his microphone is not working properly. Okay, Rahul, you can actually mute yourself. Somriddhi Sinha, a person from other department.
Yes, sir, I'm there.
समझ में आ रहा है?
Yes, sir.
Wherever you have any question, you might have any question, you and other person from other department, let's say, because you have not done economics course before, but most
Sir,
of
I've
the
done
students
in the last semester economics.
that economics, that simple economics course, right? उससे
Yes,
समझ
sir.
में आ रहा है ना? Okay, fine. If that course is giving you this understanding to understand this, absolutely fine. But if you have any question, you can ask me, because things will be. I'll teach keeping in mind that most of the people have done this micro macro over here. Anyway, uh, Odrija Odhikari,
Yes, sir.
clear? Any question?
Yes. No, sir, no questions.
Okay. Then how? What are the three different roles, functions of money, Odrija? We have learned today. Three different function of money. One is media of exchange.
First, medium of exchange, and the other, it acts as a storage of value.
Oh, unit of account. Storage of value नहीं है. Media of
Yes.
exchange, unit of account, store of value.
Yes.
Media of exchange, unit of account, money is the best. But in terms of storing of value,
Bond, stock, or equity are better.
that means anything that gives you some positive nominal return are better than money, right?
Yes.
Why? Because if nominal return is higher than the inflation by any chance, you can still have a chance of getting positive real return if you
Money
hold
can
them.
never give a positive nominal.
Positive, money can never give you positive real return.
Yes, sir. In case there's a deflation. Yes.
Money will never give you positive real return because the nominal return of holding money is zero.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Fine. Now we'll gradually go to this particular paper. I generally used to teach that in my course, Radford 1945. A very interesting paper. Is basically Radford was a prisoners of war in Germany uh, in Second World War, and he has actually explained over there in their camp, in their prison actually, how the cigarettes becomes or started playing as a role of money. Obviously not at a store value, at a medium of exchange and unit of account. That's to function, and also store value. People were actually storing cigarettes also. So these three functions, anything that is actually uh, serving these three purposes can be actually considered as money. This media of exchange, universally accepted, you can actually give that particular goods to get another good, the media of exchange. Second is unit of account, you can measure in terms of that good, anything in terms of that good, and the store of value. So any asset or anything that actually serving these three functions, this can be defined as money. And he explained in this interesting paper that how in their war prison, these cigarettes started playing all these three functions and started becoming uh, working as a money, as a substitute of money over there, cigarettes. And this is called commodity money. Then the Mankiw book that I have explained over there, I've given you this reference yesterday. Mankiw. If you read Mankiw, there's a story written in this Mankiw book, the stone in the Pacific island. Okay, there was an island in the Pacific Ocean where a special kind of stone started serving these three functions: medium of exchange, unit of account, store of value. It's basically a circular stone which has a hole in between, so you can actually carry it very easily. Okay, the story was given over there that how that particular stone uh, was serving as money in that particular island. The problem was there um, uh, that then the gold standard comes into picture. So this is basically, there are three examples of commodity money. The money that we are seeing over here, the coin money or the note money, initially from the barter economy to monetary economy, there is a phase where some commodity was started playing the role of money. In the prisoners of war camp, it was cigarette. In that particular island in the Pacific Ocean, it is basically the stone, and then there was a gold standard. There is a book, Acharya 2013. This book will be referred to you in your international trade course. In that particular book, you will there's a one section, this interesting section about this gold standard, and how gold was playing as money initially. Then people realize there's a problem over there, and then this kind of money, what you call it, fiat money, this stone, this coin money, or this paper money that we are seeing nowadays, that comes into picture after that. So initially it was barter. People realized that barter is not actually going well, because if this double coincidence of demand and everything comes into picture, then this uh, unit of account problem comes into picture. Then people realize that we should need something universally accepted over there. Then what should be that? Now we are seeing this coin and notes, but from barter and to coin and notes, there is a particular time period in the history where other goods started playing the role of money. The prisoners of war camp, cigarettes, in the Pacific island, particular island was stone, then gold, and then again people realize, okay, there is a problem. Fine. What are the problems over here? Let me just discuss. Suppose cigarettes. Let's say we do not have a fiat money, and let's say throughout the world, cigarettes are considered as playing the role of money. So you can give cigarettes to a particular person to get good. Okay, cigarette is universally accepted. Can anybody tell me what is the problem we can face if we have a cigarette or any kind of commodity as such, which has some other role also? You can actually smoke cigarette. Let's say with gold, you can actually make ornaments. So you have a not only that particular commodity, it can be served as a purpose of money, but it also has some intrinsic value. It has a role. So any commodity which has an intrinsic value, if you start using that particular commodity as money, what is the major problem you're going to face? And people face that, and then this fiat money comes into picture.
People can easily replicate it.
People can easily replicate it. The more production, right?
Yes, sir.
More production still possible. Let's say with you're right. It is still possible with cigarette. You can produce more, but gold, Can you produce more?
Sir, if the commodity has another intrinsic value of its own,
Ah,
then it can be used for other purposes, hence altering the money supply.
उसका problem क्या होगा?
The
So,
leakage
sir,
of money.
yes, sir, we wouldn't be able to track
Problem क्या
money.
होगा? Fine. We are not, suppose initially we have, let's say, 100 cigarettes. We are using 90 cigarettes as money, 10 cigarettes as smoking purpose. Fine. Now suddenly people started smoking 90 cigarettes and 10 cigarettes you are using for the money purpose. Yes, money supply gets altered. What is the consequence? Problem क्या हुआ?
We shift from the equilibrium.
I still do not have a equilibrium over here. कुछ तो होगा. अब equilibrium से ही हो रहा है. क्या हो रहा है?
So there's a
Sir, but there
value
is a possibility that won't be enough commodity money for trade, like for its
Exactly. We do not have
having
enough. What
its
is the
own.
consequence?
So, sir, we'll have liquidity issues in the economy.
What is the consequence?
The value of the cigarettes will dramatically rise.
Value of the cigarette will dramatically rise. Anything
Yes.
else? That particular answer of Priyanksha I liked, that he said that more production can takes place. Okay, for cigarettes is fine. Uh, and but another problem, you guys on the right track. फिर से बोलो, think in terms of inflation and deflation, which is actually a tangible outcome in macro. Liquidity वगैरह tangible नहीं है. जब लिक्विडिटी वगैरह चेंज होता है, अल्टीमेटली इट अफेक्ट्स थ्री थिंग्स: आउटपुट, इन्फ्लेशन, अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट. ये तीनों ही हम लोग मैक्रो में देखते हैं. when effectiveness or ineffectiveness of something is concerned, when you analyze, ये तीनों में देखना पड़ेगा. So when we suddenly start using, let's say, cigarette more in the smoking purpose and less in, and we have less amount of cigarette for the money supply purpose, what is the problem?
Sir, deflation.
डिफ्लेशन क्यों हो रहा है? एग्जाम्पल दो.
Sir, because the value of money has increased, like it will increase tremendously.
Value of money has increased tremendously. How does this value of money I have defined? जो Word document में लिख रहा था.
Sir, through supply and demand. So supply has decreased, but demand is the same.
No. इतना तुम कॉम्प्लिकेट क्यों कर रहे हो? देखो यहाँ पे क्या था. What is the value of money? How it is defined? 1 unit of money कितना खरीद सकता है? That is the value of money. If the value of money rises, 1 unit of money, how many kgs of paddy you can purchase in this simple example, that is the value of money. What is the value of money then? In this example, P units of money gives 1 kg of paddy. 1 unit of money gives 1 over P kg of paddy. What is the value of money then? What is the value of money?
1 by p kgs of paddy.
यहाँ पे मैं पैडी एग्जांपल लिया हूँ. This P, if it is P is CPI, consumer price index.
When
It's
there
basic.
will be less
One
money
second,
in the economy.
one second. जो पहले बोल रहा है उसको बोलने दो. यहाँ पे मैं पैडी का एग्जांपल लिया हूँ. If it is CPI, ये पैडी रहेगा क्या चेंज करेगा? जनरली प्राइस सीपीआई से कैलकुलेट करते हैं हम लोग. वहां से इन्फ्लेशन कैलकुलेट होता है. व्हाट डज दिस सीपीआई रिप्रेजेंट? मैक्रो 1 कंज्यूमर प्राइस इंडेक्स क्या रिप्रेजेंट करता है?
Sir, it depicts the difference between the price of a good in different time.
No. What is the good here?
So the general price level.
जनरल प्राइस कैसे कैलकुलेटेड होता है? कंज्यूमर प्राइस इंडेक्स, व्हाट डज इट, समटाइम इट इज आल्सो कॉल्ड द कॉस्ट ऑफ लिविंग इंडेक्स. कैसे
सर
कैलकुलेट होता है? हाँ बोलो.
एवरेज जो बास्केट जो
हाँ हाँ हाँ, बोलो बोलो. वेरी
सो
गुड.
करंट पीरियड में जो होता है उसका डिवाइडेड बाय बेस पीरियड.
हाँ, वो करंट पीरियड जो होता है किसका, जो करंट
सर
पीरियड किसका, जो
वो जो बास्केट.
this is a typical basket of good. A basket of good, they assume a typical consumer must purchase to live, right? That is the definition of CPI. There is a basket of good जहां पे थोड़ा फूड होता है, थोड़ा क्लोथिंग्स होता है, थोड़ा ट्रांसपोर्टेशन होता है, ये सब मिला के एक बास्केट ऑफ गुड बनाया जाता है. एंड दे हैव अ सर्टेन वेटेज W1 W2 W3 करके, एंड वेटेड एवरेज ऑफ दोस प्राइस करके हम लोग एक प्राइस इंडेक्स कैलकुलेट करते हैं. What does this physically represent? That means if the CPI is P, that means the P amount of money a person must spend in the economy for his livelihood. That is why it is the cost of living. समझ में आ रहा है? अच्छा, अगर P इंक्रीज करे, कॉस्ट ऑफ लिविंग इंक्रीज कर रहा है या डिक्रीज कर रहा है? अगर CPI इंक्रीज करे, your cost of living is rising or cost of living is falling?
It's rising.
Rising.
Rising. That means that when inflation takes place, it is costly for you to live in the economy. That is the interpretation. Right? When price rises, तो सेम बास्केट ऑफ कमोडिटी खरीदने के लिए तुम्हें ज्यादा मनी स्पेंड करना पड़ रहा है. दैट मीन्स इट इज कॉस्टली टू लिव इन द इकोनॉमी. सो व्हेन इन्फ्लेशन टेक्स प्लेस, it is costly for you to live in the economy. That is the interpretation. The same thing over here. Instead of taking paddy, suppose the P units of money gives you one typical basket. Then the interpretation of P is basically CPI. Then one unit of money gives 1 by P units of typical basket. Now you come. As you said, the value of money is rising. That means 1 by P is rising. That means P is falling and the deflation takes place. That is the mathematical way of saying it. सिगरेट जो था, पहले मैं 90 सिगरेट्स यूज कर रहा था, 10 money as a money now, and we are using, let's say, 10 cigarettes as smoking purpose. Now ulta ho gaya, 90 cigarette smoking, 10 cigarette money. You said that okay, the money, the value of the cigarette becomes started rising. That means value of money started rising. The value of money started rising means the 1 by P started rising. The 1 by P can only rise if P falls down. That means CPI falls down. The CPI falls down means the deflation takes place. This is what we see as the major problem people felt in the commodity money. Very unstable price and inflation dynamics. We get deflation very frequently in those kind of economy where we have this commodity money stuff because of this purpose. Okay, and more intuitive explanation is, suppose initially you have to give 50 cigarettes to a cultivator to get, let's say, 1 kg of rice. Fine, that means the price of 1 kg of rice is basically 50 cigarettes. Now suddenly in your entire economy you have only 10 cigarettes left to use in terms of money. Cultivator क्या करेगा? Okay, you give me 10 cigarette and take the paddy from me. That means 1 kg of paddy का price 50 से घट के 10 cigarettes हो गया. That's deflation. So anyway, you see, ultimately what you see when you use anything as a commodity money place, a good which has an intrinsic value other than money, what we will see, a frequent deflation in the economy, and people observe that. That is the major problem people observe, especially in the gold standard. Frequent deflation in the economy, and people realize, okay, we really have to think for something else. A commodity which does not have an intrinsic value. समझ में आया? रोहित आनंद?
Yes, sir.
So there are two ways he's saying. So I think Priyanksha said that is also correct, that when the money supply falls down, the money becomes extremely valuable. And we have seen the value of money is basically 1 over the price level. When the money becomes extremely valuable, 1 over price level rising, that means the price level actually falling, deflation takes place. One way of seeing it, in that way deflation really takes place. Another way, the story I have given you, initially 1 kg of paddy or rice cost, let's say 50 cigarettes. Now suddenly in the entire economy only 10 cigarettes left. कल्टीवेटर क्या करेगा, मुझे 10 सिगरेट्स दे दो, मैं तुम्हें 1 केजी राइस दे दूंगा. दैट मींस 1 केजी राइस का प्राइस 50 सिगरेट से घट के 10 सिगरेट्स हो गया. Inflation takes place, and this is exactly what people have seen when the gold standard was going on, and they realized that if we use commodity money, a good which has other intrinsic value, then my price dynamic will be extremely unstable. And they started feeling, okay, we need something else. We have to have something as money which do not have an intrinsic value. That's one thing. Second problem, you have to carry money, right? Nowadays you have the credit card, debit card and everything. वो मैं बाद में आता हूँ उसका discussion में. But let's say stones in the Pacific Island. Fine, stones generally do not have that much of intrinsic value of gold. You might not have this deflation problem if you use this stone, which people used to use in Pacific Island as a role of money. Fine, उतना intrinsic value नहीं है, and this is much more in supply. Supply में problem नहीं है, तो deflation ज़्यादा नहीं होगा. But here's the problem: how do you carry it? You also have to have a commodity playing the role of money which you can easily carry. यहाँ पे वो problem हो गया, carry करने का problem हो गया, and Mankiw have explained that over there. You have a 10 stones you can carry easily, 20 stones you can carry easily. You have a 50 stones, 100 stones, how do you carry? Problem हो गया. Then the money should be easily carried also. That's the two major problem. And third, it should be infinitely divisible. Not, and if it is not infinitely, at least some divisible. 10, 20, 15. ये division होना चाहिए. How do you divide a stone? How do you divide a cigarette? So first problem is deflation problem. Second problem, carry करने का problem. Third problem, the divisibility. Commodity money stop हो गया. So initially barter, people realize, okay, double coincidence demand problem हो रहा है. Then unit of account का problem हो रहा है, वो NC2 और N वाला जो example मैं दिया. Then people realize, okay, barter is not going really fine. So we have to know, you have to do something else. We have to have some goods and services which is playing this role of money. Then commodity money comes into picture. Gold, intrinsic value है, deflation आने लगा. Stones, ज़्यादा intrinsic value है नहीं. Problem क्या है? How do you carry? And also divisibility problem. Cigarettes can be easily carried, but divisibility problem. Then commodity money stops. Problem हो गया commodity money में.
Sir,
And then हाँ बोलो.
for the commodity money thing, in case we have a fixed
Who
exchange
is this? मैं देखना चाहता हूँ. Abdija, okay. हाँ.
So in case we have a fixed exchange rate for everything, then how is it going to create a problem?
तुम फिक्स कैसे करोगे? वही तो मैं एग्जांपल दिया. सपोज तुम सिगरेट के बगल में राइस ले रहे हो. initially you have a 50 cigarette, let's say you have a supply of, let's say, 1 lakh cigarettes, and the exchange rate between cigarette and paddy was, let's say, 50. That means you give me 50 cigarettes, I'll give you 1 kg of paddy. But suddenly the entire money supply shrinks. 1 lakh cigarette tha initially, now the only cigarette left to use it as a money is 10. क्या होगा?
सर फिर किसी और इकोनॉमी से बोरो करेंगे, दैट इज व्हाट वी डू इन केस ऑफ पेपर मनी एज वेल.
ट्रेड है नहीं यहाँ पे. जो टाइम का बात मैं तुम्हें बोल रहा हूँ, इंटरनेशनल ट्रेड हैज नॉट टेकन प्लेस.
Okay, so like now also we face
Now,
the same problem. Paper money.
one second. Now suppose I assume the trade taken place. तुम्हें क्या भेजना पड़ेगा in terms of money? Either cigarettes or gold or stones.
Yes.
Is it easy to send a large amount of, let's say, stone, a large amount of, let's say, cigarette?
No, sir.
As I say, carry. सब कुछ दिमाग में रखना पड़ेगा ना. डिफ्लेशन है, कैरी है, डिविजिबिलिटी है. 3 प्रॉब्लम.
Yes.
सपोज आई 1 kg of rice का एक्सचेंज रेट स्टोन के हिसाब से है 1.257 यूनिट ऑफ स्टोन्स इज इक्विवेलेंट टू 1 kg ऑफ राइस. तुम 1.257 स्टोन्स को कैसे कैलकुलेट करोगे? डिविजिबिलिटी प्रॉब्लम. समझ में आ रहा है?
हाँ सर.
तो 3 प्रॉब्लम एक साथ आया था. वाटर इकोनॉमी प्रॉब्लम क्या आया था? हाँ बोलो, 1 सेकंड, मुझे एक बार खत्म करने दो. वाटर इकोनॉमी में क्या प्रॉब्लम आया था? डबल कोइंसिडेंस ऑफ डिमांड एंड दिस यूनिट ऑफ अकाउंट प्रॉब्लम. कमोडिटी में प्रॉब्लम आ गया 3. सडन प्राइस डायनामिक्स इज एक्सट्रीमली अनस्टेबल. डिफ्लेशन देखने में आया गोल्ड स्टैंडर्ड में. Second is how do I carry so much of things, so much of, let's say, stones or something, and the divisibility. Then people realize I need something else. Then the fiat money comes into picture. ये जो coin money और note money जो है, जो मैं बाद में आऊंगा. This is basically the history how the money supply actually evolves over the time. हाँ बोलो, कौन बोल रहा था?
So Nominal,
हाँ.
I was saying कि like stone को divisible क्यों करना, like 1 stone equivalent to 1 rupee टाइप का कुछ कर सकते हैं ना, या फिर 1 stone.
अच्छा, 1 stone equivalent to 1 rupee. Why everybody will accept that? 1 rupee, 1 stone. Let's say 1.5 rupees 1 kg of rice. That means 1.5 stone is 1 kg of rice. 1.5 कैसे करोगे?
5 करना है कि the whole number में
The
रखना है.
whole, that means you are saying ये जो हमारा जो पॉइंट का सिस्टम है, डेसिमल का सिस्टम है, वो है ही नहीं. Is it feasible? Is it feasible?
Okay.
हाँ?
नहीं ठीक.
I will always go for an integer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1.5 एग्जिस्ट नहीं करता है. 1.5 kg राइस एग्जिस्ट नहीं करता है. 2.5 kg राइस एग्जिस्ट नहीं करता है. Is it not? It is not feasible, right? Suppose I need 2.5 kg of rice. कितना दूंगा मैं? 2 stone and half stone. हाफ स्टोन कहां से मिलेगा मुझे? Suppose I want to purchase, let's say, 2.2 kg and 250 grams of rice. तो 0.25 stone कहां से मिलेगा मुझे? Divisibility problem. So what people say, they should be sufficiently divisible, easy to carry, and it does not have that intrinsic value. Intrinsic value अगर हो, तो एग्जाम्पल मैं दिया गोल्ड का, प्राइस डायनामिक्स बिकम एक्सट्रीमली अनस्टेबल. मुझे प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है, डिफ्लेशन हो रहा है, वेरी फ्रीक्वेंट डिफ्लेशन. सेकेंड, स्टोन अगर मैं लू, इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यू उतना है नहीं कंपेयर टू गोल्ड, but very difficult to carry under divisibility. And people realize, okay, fine, not working, we need something else, and then this fiat money comes into picture. So initially barter, no money, lot of transaction costs in terms of unit of account and the double coincidence of demand. Then over here, commodity money. 3 problems: frequent deflation, divisibility and carry. Then और इंट्रिंसिक वैल्यू अगर हो, उसमें और भी एक प्रॉब्लम है, द प्रॉब्लम ऑफ गेटिंग थेफ्ट. हाँ बोलो, ओविदीप आई थिंक।
सर आप फिर तो ये भी हो सकता है शायद आप 10 years बाद ये पढ़ाएं कि फोर्थ प्रॉब्लम विद द मनी कि उसको कॉपी कर सकते हैं तो इसलिए वर्चुअल
एग्जैक्टली,
मनी।
मैं एकदम एकदम ये जो मैं आऊंगा जब तुम फिएट मनी के बाद, अभी तो आफ्टर द fiat money when we have done is basically the electronic money, right? Debit card, credit card, and everything. What is the trade-off? It is very easy to carry, easy to contract the transaction, but the problem is online forgery is higher. People is actually ये cryptocurrency वगैरह evolve क्यों कर रहा है? Gradually people started realizing what is the problem, and then people started realizing that how should I uh, 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 produce something or devise something to facilitate this transaction more smoothly. 10 साल क्यों, 5 साल पहले भी हो, 5 साल के बाद भी हो सकता है. But the problem is still with this cryptocurrency and everything. It does this control of cryptocurrency is not within the hand of the central government. जो मैं हम लोग देखूंगा जो मनी सप्लाई कंट्रोल करके सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट इकोनॉमी को कंट्रोल करता है, क्रिप्टो करेंसी का कंट्रोल अभी भी सेंट्रल गवर्नमेंट के पास है नहीं, एंड दैट इज व्हाई इट इज नॉट दैट पॉपुलर टिल डेट. जो मैं तुम लोगों को बोला इज बेसिकली तुम्हारा जो 5th ईयर का जो प्रोजेक्ट तुम करोगे, तुम यू कैन एक्चुअली टेक इट अप दैट जो मैं तुम्हें बोला जो सप्लाई कहां से होता है, व्हाट काइंड ऑफ मॉडल दे आर एक्चुअली following to control this cryptocurrency supply, who demands, why do they demand, just like the normal money. सप्लाई कौन करता है, कैसे कंट्रोल करता है, व्हाट इज द फंक्शन, डिमांड कौन करता है, क्यों करता है. सिंपल मनी का जो देखता हूँ क्रिप्टो करेंसी के वही कॉरस्पॉन्डिंग एक तुम एनालिसिस कर सकते हो, एंड स्टिल इट इज स्टिल मिसिंग, इट्स नॉट देयर. ओके, ठीक है अभिदीप.
यस सर.
हाँ, धीरज कुमार शर्मा. नहीं है. एलाइजा रॉय. आर यू हियर? Eliza Roy, Eliza or Eliza? How should I pronounce it? Problem. फैजल,
यस सर.
ठीक है,
हाँ सर.
समझ में आ रहा है?
सर मनी का एक और प्रॉब्लम हो सकता है कि इट कैन बी डिमोनेटाइज्ड.
Demonetized, मुझे पता नहीं है व्हाट इज डिमोनेटाइज्ड. ओ डिमोनेटाइजेशन मतलब यू सेइंग दैट या प्रॉब्लम तो होता है, पर उसके बारे में डिस्कस नहीं करूंगा. We will not going to discuss demonetization issue as a public servant, and at least in this open online forum. ठीक है, ठीक है.
सर लुकिंग फॉर ऑफलाइन क्लासेस देन.
हाँ, पर ये तो वो होने वाला नहीं है. ये जो तुम्हारा जो ग्रोथ में पढ़ाया था याद है, that if you want to devise anything innovation, it has a huge fixed cost, and then the replication cost, the marginal cost is very low, increasing return to scale. हाँ, तो यहाँ पे भी वही है. ये जो वैक्सीन वगैरह बनाया गया है और जो ऑनलाइन पोर्टल वाला जो हम लोग यूज कर रहे हैं, माइक्रोसॉफ्ट टीम्स, वेबएक्स एंड एवरीथिंग, फिक्स्ड कॉस्ट है. जब तक ये फिक्स्ड कॉस्ट रिकवर नहीं होगा तब तक ये पैंडेमिक जाएगा भी नहीं. वैक्सीन का भी फिक्स्ड कॉस्ट है, and lot of companies actually making these vaccines. Maybe in the first wave, one company has recovered their cost, the other didn't. जब तक सब कंपनी कॉस्ट रिकवर ना करे ये जाने वाला नहीं है. Standard economics going on, standard economics of innovation going on. The only way it can go if governments actually give some sort of subsidies, decreasing average cost, decreasing marginal cost. Perfect competition does not prevail. Profit motive रहेगा सबका, and if government gives some sort of subsidy and bring perfect competition back into picture, profit motive नहीं चल, जब तक नहीं जाता है तब तक ये पैंडेमिक नहीं जाएगा और ऑफलाइन क्लासेस चालू नहीं होगा. Sounds good, sounds logical.
यस सर.
साची जालोटे
Yes, sir.
समझ में आ रहा है?
Yes, sir.
अच्छा, value of money, how it is defined then? In a general economy, when the price level is denoted by CPI, Consumer Price Index, how do you calculate the
So
value of money?
1 by CPI.
1 over CPI. Very good, very good. What is the physical definition? And how many typical basket 1 unit of money can purchase? Right? That's the value of money.
Yes, sir.
Very good, very good. अच्छा, gradually हम लोग fiat money में जाएंगे. Let me just ask one thing. कि ISLM, aggregate demand, aggregate supply, complete Keynesian, ये सब ठीक ठाक है ना? मुझे पढ़ाना नहीं पड़ेगा ना? Complete Keynesian is fine, right? अनुभव आनंद, Anubhav, are you here?
Yes, sir.
Complete Keynesian is fine, right?
Yes, sir.
So these ISLM, aggregate demand, aggregate supply, production function, labor function, their interaction is already covered in macro, right? I do not need to teach that.
Yes, sir.
Or do I need to teach that? वो सब कहाँ से पढ़े हो तुम लोग? Which book you have followed? ISLM complete Keynesian के लिए कौन सा वाला बुक रेफर किया गया था? Is there any reference or not? Priyanksha, is there any reference? Complete Keynesian?
I think the professor told ManQ, but I didn't read it personally. Like I followed the lectures and revised from the slides. I didn't read the book.
You didn't read the book.
Sir, even
But
in
हाँ बोलो.
sir,
समृद्धि
even
बोलो.
in economics course, I think it wasn't there. That thing, what you said.
That ISLM was not there.
No, sir.
It won't be there. That's the problem. Then this is exactly the problem you guys going to face. तो मैं कितना deep में ISLM पढ़ा हूँ, that's the problem. Okay, we have some tutorial component. This is a 3-1-0 course structure. The tutorial component is there. The tutorial component, some basic, what should I say, helicopter view of this ISLM aggregate demand, aggregate supply will be covered either by me or by my students, because that will be required. Ultimately, what we will see, the control of money supply by the central bank, it has an impact on the general economy, and the impact is analyzed through ISLM, aggregate demand, aggregate supply. वो एक cover होगा. I'll discuss with my students, my TA, and they will give you some helicopter view of this ISLM, aggregate demand, aggregate supply. I don't think this our MSc economics student will need that more in detail, because they still have some exposure. I'll tell them to read Branson, not Mankiw. Mankiw is there. Mankiw and Branson both you can actually check. For this ISLM, don't read एबल बर्नान के. बर्नान के वाला बुक जो तुम डाउनलोड किए हो ISLM के लिए कुछ ज्यादा अच्छा नहीं है. So this Mankiw book and this Branson is very basic textbook that people follow throughout the world. Branson, ये दोनों बुक अगर तुम देखो तो ISLM के लिए बहुत अच्छा है. But still we will give some helicopter view of ISLM that is required for this analysis, how ultimately how this money supply and money demand interaction affects general economy. उसके लिए तो एक ISLM जानना जरूरी है और हम लोग देखेंगे. ठीक है समृद्धि?
Yes, sir.
ब्रैनसन का बुक आई थिंक डाउनलोडेबल है, देख सकते हो. If it is not downloadable, it is there in the library also. If you are in the campus, you can actually get it from there. ठीक है. So this is how it goes. Then with this problem in mind, this deflation problem, this problem of carrying and divisibility, people started realizing, okay, we need something else. And then this uh, fiat money comes into picture. This is basically the thing: widely accepted, divisible, do not deteriorate, easy to carry, this kind of stuff. And this fiat money comes into picture. The paper currency or coin decreed by governments as legal tender. Fiat money, checks, an instruction to your bank to transfer money from your account to other person's account. This was really there for a long period of time. Fiat money, checks. The problem of fiat money is basically, okay, universally accepted, easy to carry, and everything going fine. The problem is basically it can be theft very easily. Then people realize for this electronic payment, debit card, Paytm, credit card, what is the trade-off? It reduces the possibility of theft, easy to carry, but increases the possibility of online forgery. And these new innovations are still taking place, and one of them is basically really looming large, is basically this cryptocurrency stuff. Maybe it will come once they get acceptance of the central bank or different central bank, and once central bank realize they can control this cryptocurrency stuff, then they will allow to take the role of money in the economy by cryptocurrency. Otherwise, both will go on, and this fiat money, checks, and electronic payment will be the major options, and cryptocurrency will be the minor option. And once they realize cryptocurrency can be controlled, might be different. This original traditional payment system might be taken over by the cryptocurrency, but still we have to wait what it causes over the time, how it goes over the time. So this fiat money, checks, electronic payment comes into picture, and we actually concentrate more on this fiat money stuff, how it is calculated actually, and then how it is controlled by the economy, and how it affects general economy through ISLM, aggregate demand, aggregate supply. Okay, fine. How many students are there over here? Let's say from other department. I can actually see Somriddhi only. Who are there? Okay, let me see. What's this? Shriyam Pandey. Shriyam, can you unmute yourself? Somriddhi Sinha. Huh. Shriyam, ISLM, aggregate demand, aggregate supply. Are you aware of that?
No, sir. I have not had any like course or anything of that sort in economics.
The problem hoga, Shriyam. Please be careful.
Okay.
Because there are 55 to 56 students in my MSc economics course. They have this basic exposure, and we will use this ISLM, aggregate demand, aggregate supply for the analysis. I will obviously not go in detail how it is coming, because they know that where it is coming from and what is the use of that. I will actually go for the application. Okay. So I can give you books. I can actually give you reference. People who have done my monetary economics course before from other department, they have done in that fashion only. So I have given them reference of books and the chapters, and they read that.
Yes, sir, if you can give that.
But derivation of ADAs, obviously, ISLM, obviously I'm not going to do. Okay.
Okay.
Shriyam Pandey, Somriddhi. Another girl is here, Eliza Roy, but I do not know. I think she just logged in and she just left.
No, she is COVID positive, sir.
Okay, fine, but I do not know. Stay safe. जल्दी से अच्छा हो जाओ. Uh, but that's basically, this message is also for him, because this ISLM is the basic macro tool to analyze economy, entire economy as a whole, and our MSc economic students are already aware of that. I'm going to use that. I'm not going much detail in the derivation. I can actually give books, and also I can actually go for some tutorial classes which will be taken by my TA, economic student TA. They can help you out. Okay, but I will just go directly for the application. टाइम है हमारे पास. अभी भी मनी सप्लाई होने के बाद मनी डिमांड करेंगे, उसके बाद हम लोग ISLM में जाएंगे. बट वी स्टिल हैव टाइम, बट I will fix some classes of with my TA who can actually teach you. ठीक है, श्रियम and समृद्धि.
Yes.
Okay. Any further question? क्योंकि ये fiat money का detail calculation and everything, M1, M2, different kind of money supply, and then the balance sheet of central bank and how it control money supply, वो लोग धीरे धीरे जाएंगे. आज के लिए इतना ही है. It's basically initially barter economy. Barter economy has a problem of this double coincidence of demand. Money solves it. Then unit of account का जो problem, ये जो example मैं दिया था, money solves it. But in terms of store value, money is not that good compared to bonds, stocks, and equity, which gives some nominal return. Because ultimately, what matters is the real return, nominal return minus inflation. Okay, so money का nominal return zero है. So money will always have a negative real return. But any other asset which gives you positive nominal return, you can still have positive real return out of that if the nominal interest rate higher than inflation. As a result, in terms of store value, money is not a very good option. Go for some other assets like bonds, stocks, and equity. Fine. Anything, any commodity that actually serves these three purposes, medium of exchange, unit of account, and store value, it can be used as money. So when people realize that we need some commodity to play the role of money, commodity money comes into picture. And these are some example. Interesting paper, पढ़ सकते हो. It's basically a storytelling. These prisoners of war, anybody who has an interest of history actually can actually go through this. Then this example is basically from the Mankiw book, the stone example, then the gold standard. So all this money, all this commodity has an intrinsic value. The highest intrinsic value has is basically the gold, and the problem we face is the deflation. Stone is lower intrinsic value, but it is very difficult to carry, not divisible also, and people realize this problem and they need this a standardized and widely accepted mode, divisible, easy to carry, and do not deteriorate quickly. ये सब मिला के fiat money आया. Fiat money is basically this coin and this note money that we'll see over here. It's basically a paper currency or coin decreed by governments as legal tender. If you can remember the speech our Prime Minister has given during the demonetization, that 1,000 and 500 rupees note is not considered a legal tender anymore. This is basically because of this definition. The paper currency and coins decreed by the government as legal tender is fiat money, which is not decreed by the government as a legal tender cannot be considered as fiat money. When that speech has given that it is no longer a legal tender, that means it is no longer considered as a fiat money. Okay. Also, alongside fiat money, for a longer period of time, we have this payment of this through checks. But after that, this electronic payment also has started for something like last 25 years or so. Debit card, credit card, Paytm आया उसके बाद. अभी there are different kind of mobile transactions also. Why those kind of transaction actually people devised over the time? Because of this fiat money. If you carry, there's a possibility of being theft. Okay, and this debit card and these online payments, very easy to carry, right? You just carry a card, you just carry your telephone, mobile phone. But the problem, the trade-off is online forgery is higher. People now still thinking of what can be devised to get out of it. Cryptocurrency nowadays is basically really a possibility we are thinking of, but it is still not taking the role of this traditional money because still central bank do not have a mode to control it. Controlling money supply is important for the economy. We will see that, but they cannot control cryptocurrency. And once they realize they can control, maybe if the cryptocurrency might take this traditional, make this traditional payment system obsolete. Time will say that what will happen. But as I said, that if you really want to do your paper, the fifth year paper or something with cryptocurrency, follow this particular pattern. That कहाँ से supply आ रहा है, who is controlling the supply and how it is controlled. Second is who is demanding and why it is demanded. Just like money supply और money demand जैसे analyzed होता है, ऐसे cryptocurrency analysis चालू होना चाहिए. Then we will see that what is actually happening. Okay. Anyway, this is basically today's class. I have downloaded the lecture, attendance and everything. I'll give you this lecture note. Don't worry. Anyway, any questions? Any further question?
Sir,
Bolo.
then in case of inflation, you said that the nominal return of money would be negative. So, isn't it like in case of deflation, it would be positive? Then, in that sense, it is good.
Deflation has some other problem also. अभी तुम समझ नहीं पाओगे.
Okay.
Fine. Anything else? Any question? हर्ष मकवाना कैंपस में या बाहर? ओके, कल मैं तुम्हें पूछा था. हाँ. अच्छा, कार्तिकेय माइच. कार्तिकेय? Not here, I think. Vedika Gupta.
Yes, sir.
Fine, lecture is fine. समझ में आ रहा है?
Yes, sir.
Very good. And कहाँ पे हो? कैंपस में या घर में?
Sir, campus.
कैंपस में. Anybody who is in the campus, please stay safe. कुछ ज़्यादा दिन नहीं, maybe another 20 or 25 days. धीरे धीरे कम होने लगेगा. Stay safe. Anyway, thank you. We will meet again on next Monday at 3 p.m. Okay? Thank you. I'm ending the lecture, today's lecture over here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.